Welcome to a new series, a week of Linux news. So I'm going to put up a video once a week, trying to do it on the weekend if I can, of notable stories that have happened throughout the week that are Linux related. So let's see what's happened. Now I'm going to start with a bit of sad news here. Although for most people OpenOffice ended several years ago when Oracle took over the project, this is when there was mass exodus of all the developers leaving and forming a new Office application, LibreOffice. There's been some discussions going on about what ending OpenOffice would involve, and it means putting the open source code out to pasture in a way that it'll still be available for everyone, but no improvements will be made, no contributions will be allowed. And it's all come about because the number of security issues has gotten too much for the small team to handle. And in particular, if you get a 90-day exposure limit from when the bug is discovered to when it's out available for everyone, well, unfortunately the small team just can't keep up with it. And it's going to become an issue for anyone using the application, so that is perhaps why they're looking to end it. And to be honest, I'm surprised it's carried on this long, but in a way it's kind of what you can expect with a forking of a project, that the original can live on, lingering away, whilst the new version continues to grow. But now on to some more amusing news. Linus Torvalds saying it as it is again. He won't apply the sh*T for brains stupid patch. Gotta love him for saying it as it is. Got a lot of respect for the guy, and it's quite amazing he still maintains the kernel this long. We just had the 25th birthday recently, and the story here on Register mentions that the evolution we've seen of the kernel has taken it from 10,000 lines to 22 million lines. Quite how one developer can still make sense of it all. It's quite amazing. I know he splits it off into various teams. This is a discussion here that a developer is asking approval for distributing a driver without firmware. Torvalds asks what the hell is the point of such a thing, and concludes the post by saying, "Stop pushing this." You can read that for yourself. The driver module and firmware blob should be stored together, so that when the partition holding them is mounted, a user space script loads the driver module using insmod, and then the firmware blob is available to load. That's way more sensible than hacking around, delaying drivers until a file system flag is set. Well, okay, there's way too much complexity in the kernel for me to fully understand that, but I just love the way that Linus says it as it is. A lot of respect for the guy. A story that I've already covered this week, Adobe are bringing back the NPAPI Flash plugin for Linux. This is the Firefox plugin, and all of a sudden we'll see Flash for Firefox jump from version 11.2 to version 23. But it's not going to be the full release because features like GPU 3D acceleration and premium video DRM will not be fully implemented. Oh well, we're halfway there. KDE Neon Developer Edition is to use Wayland by default for KDE Plasma 5.8. I believe the developer version is at version 5.5 at least, because I'm already using version 5.4 here, and I'm not on the developer edition, I'm using the more stable version. Well, this is going to be a bit of a scary prospect. I mean, how well is Wayland sorted out now, especially for NVIDIA, considering they initially stated that they weren't going to support it? I don't know if they've changed their stance on that yet. But the last thing I want is for my NVIDIA-based system to suddenly fail once I upgrade to the newer versions of KDE Plasma, which unfortunately I'm going to end up doing because I'm using KDE Neon here. It's a bleeding-edge system based on Ubuntu 16.04, but I'm getting the latest versions of the KDE desktop. However, Wayland will only be available for those using Intel graphics cards, as nothing will change for NVIDIA and AMD Radeon users. I have attempted to try Ubuntu Unity 8 in Wayland on my system, and I never had any luck getting it going. Now, bear in mind this was some months ago now. I'm not in any rush to test it. I know Wayland should be the future in allowing a more portable graphics environment, particularly to mobile phones. Keeping with KDE news, the KDE Software Store will be allowing containerized apps in different formats. This will be the Snap, Flatpak and App Image formats. Of course, why have one particular standard in Linux when we could have several different standards, and this is a particular battle between Snappy and Flatpak. So being an Ubuntu-based system here, I'll be expecting to use snaps. To be honest, I've never really had much experience with KDE Store yet, but it certainly looks quite good looking around at it. At least it's better defined here and now which are Plasma 4 widgets and which are Plasma 5, because Plasma 4 widgets don't work in Plasma 5. On the KDE Look website, those weren't split out. I must admit, I would find it really useful if these widgets were packed as like snaps, rather than code which I have to compile, because there always seems to be a long list of dependencies, and I found very few widgets actually clearly define them, so it takes ages to compile some of these. Perhaps there's lack of experience here as well, but hey, if I have to admit that I'm having trouble, how much are other people suffering? And for most people, if you can't get it to work first time, then you're just going to give up. Which is a shame, because there are quite a few nice features that could be had here. So yeah, I'm going to take a look at this more in a future video. Now on to a few of the distros that have been released this week. So there's a newer version of Solus, and they've built their own custom desktop. I've done more of a review on this before. It certainly looks quite an interesting distro. I think I'll wait for them to progress at least another version forward before I take a look at it. The Tory OS has hit version 1.0. So this is aimed at older systems, and they say here non-PAE systems. This is the physical address enhancement on the RAM, allowing 32-bit systems to have more than 3 gig of RAM. Because there are some systems that can't even take that kernel. So you're looking at below 3 gig of RAM. I'm going to have to take a look at this distro, although sadly I don't have a very old machine available anymore to run this on, but hey, we can throttle VirtualBox in such a way that it might give a fair representation of it. What should we go for? 256 meg of RAM, 1 CPU, about 5 gig hard drive? Yeah. Another Linux distro that's been released is AV Linux, Audio Visual Linux. It's based on Debian and comes with a variety of media creation packages. Although, why do they say AV Linux is not a Linux distribution in the proper sense? Before downloading AV Linux, it is essential to read the user manual. 87 illustrated pages. No, you're right, thanks. I'll just take a stab at it, and if I can get it working, I can get it working, and if I can't, well, I can't. Another distro I've never looked at before, and I may pass on this one, but Aria Linux is based on Linux from scratch. Hence why I probably won't look at it. I do quite enjoy the simplicity of the Ubuntu and Debian based systems. It comes with a few different desktop environments, and it's got a newer version of the Mate desktop environment. I really did like the Ubuntu Mate distro, so maybe I'd be curious just for that. See what another Mate based system looks like. But if you don't want Mate, then it comes in Xphase, KDE5 and LXQT. There's a few screenshots there showing the Mate desktop. A bit of loosely related Linux news. The Raspberry Pi has sold over 10 million units. Fair play, that's probably brought a lot of people into Linux and programming. And it's quite amazing what you can do with a device. To celebrate its success, there's this new £120 starter kit that's available. So there's a book, keyboard, power supply, case, 8GB Noobs SD card, and a mouse. Yeah, it seems quite expensive for all you're getting. But the beauty of it is, you don't have to have all that. You can just have the basic Raspberry Pi on its own, and you can buy all the other bits that you need from any other supplier. I've got a few of them running in my house, so to say yes, I have 4 Raspberry Pis. So yeah, I have more Raspberry Pis than I have computers. And finally, just to be a bit cheeky, I've released a new version of NoTrack. So this is the network-wide ad blocking solution I've been working on. And I've had quite a bit of input from other developers, so yeah, I'm really thankful for that. Thanks to everyone who has contributed here, and thanks to everyone who has donated. So that was a look at a week of Linux news. Thanks for watching. See you all later.